هنا في السعودية الثروة لا تقاس بالأرقام ولكنها بالازدهار ازدهار شعبها. وفي الرياض
Hindi ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta at sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa akin. Kamusta mga kapang Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala Abu Dhabi.
Exclusive revelation. The 17-word hidden message that might make Alex Eala is a celebrity. Saudi multi-billionaire's startling action following the collapse in Manila. In Manila, the silence was overwhelming. It wasn't the quiet of a deserted stadium. No, the stands were crowded to the rafters. It was the oppressive, heavy thousands of hearts breaking in quiet all at once. Ella Alexandra, the golden Filipino tennis girl, the shining example of optimism for a country yearning for a magnificent she had just bent her head, slam champion. In defeat, the Philippine Women's 2026 Open was meant to be her coronation. It was the inaugural WTA 125 competition on practically a competition in her home soil constructed so she might raise the trophy in front of her people. However, rather than cheers and confetti, there was only the painful truth of losing in the quarterfinals at the hands of Camila from Colombia Osorio. For an instant, it appeared as though the world's weight had finally crushed the 20-year-old's unwavering spirit star. Critics were already becoming more acute. Their knives on social media. The whispers had begun. Was there pressure? Too much? Had she reached her peak too soon? Is this the start of the end? However, although the world was occupied with analyzing her failure and writing obituaries too soon, something was going on for her career. In the darkness, something that nobody, and I mean nobody at all, saw arriving. Thousands of miles away, in a boardroom that determines the fate of contemporary sports. A man who has stayed after years of careful observation, they eventually made his action. The governor, Yasser Al-Rahman of the Public Investment Fund, as well as one of the most influential people in the world sports, the LIV's genius Saudi Arabia's golf revolution and aggressive entry into boxing, football, for any major sport that comes to mind, grabbed his phone. He failed to send a press release. He didn't make a press call. Gathering. He didn't earn much money. Gesture in public. He sent a confidential sent straight to Alexandria. It contained precisely 17 words. The 17 words were more than merely consolation or a general, good luck, next time message. They provided a lifeline. They provided a degree of authority, access, and unique care that seasoned athletes with decades of knowledge, a tour can only envision. It was a departing invitation. The tennis community is furious. With wild conjecture and envy. What did he say? What did he specifically offer? Moreover, above all, how did a devastating loss in Manila become what might be the largest pivotal moment in Alex's professional life? Let's go back to the beginning. The whole story. The ambience at the Philippine Women's Open was unquestionably electrified from the ball's initial strike. For the first time ever, the WTA Tour had arrived in the Philippines. This wasn't only another competition on the calendar. This was an incredible return home. Proportions. For Alex, this was the moment to demonstrate to her people not simply her racket skills, but that she had developed into a woman, a true top 50 players, a real force in the world stage who had merited her spot among the elite. It was a good draw. The throng was more political than you could imagine. At a typical tour event, each forehand there was a cheer as she struck the winner. That was audible from 3 cities away. There was a lot of strain, yet the level of support was astounding. However, tennis, as it's a harsh sport, as we all know too well, narratives don't matter to it. It disregards fairy tales and homecoming story conclusions. Camila Osorio, a tough, tenacious Colombian fighter with I have everything to prove and nothing to lose, didn't travel to Manila to serve as a prop in Eala's film. She came to prevail. Forget about it. The quarter-final game was an absolute attrition war. Engaged in combat with all that she possessed. She argues all the time. Her trademark is that. That's what makes her unique. However, today's shots were hardly an inch broad when they landed. The typical bite of the serve was absent. Accuracy. Osorio, perceiving the anxieties emanating from her rival, tightened its grip like a vice and refused to release your grip. The last ball sailed far away, solidifying Osorio's triumph, and concluding at Eala's competition, you could observe the physical damage marked on every square inch of Eala's expression. Not only did she lose a tennis match, she believed that she had allowed down a whole country observing with bated anticipation. In the press following the game conference, the unadulterated feeling was really noticeable in the space. "I've had better days," she acknowledged, her voice quivering a little, but her chin upheld with the honor of a real champion. "But that's simply the way things are. I must acknowledge it, and there's always following week." It was a responsible reply. From a young person, demonstrating the mental toughness that has allowed her to distance, yet those near her were aware of the harsh reality beneath the courageous exterior. Was utterly heartbroken. This wasn't merely regarding ranking points or the modest prize money, but she did take home $27,450 and WTA points for her work. It was about the missed chance to present a trophy to the individuals who had backed her since as a junior. She was hitting balls on Quezon City's shattered courts, dreaming of this very moment, but as the dust established in Manila, and the masses scattered, the story started to change in a surprising way. She didn't hide. Instead, she went into a shell. From the public or vanish from the media instead of licking her wounds, she utilized her defeat as a platform to give a harsh reality check to the influential figures in Philippine sports, a maneuver that caught several onlookers off guard with its audacity and political bravery, the infrastructure or deficiency of tennis in the Philippines. To have this WTA is a fantastic first step, she informed the assembled journalists, her eyes flaming with a renewed ferocity that attracted attention. "I believe it's a wake-up call for those who can assist or have the ability to take action. Believe there is plenty of space for enhancement as opposed to merely having two professional competitions for women." Was not the sound of a girl who had lost. Excusing themselves. This was the tone of a leader calling for reform and accountability. She went on to even further flames. "There is a significant margin of enhancement there. Filipinos are diligent and incredibly passionate, so I'm confident that if we feed our tennis players we can gradually construct more and more champions." It was a courageous declaration that might have caused ruffles in the wrong circles, but courage isn't always rewarded. The bills, and it's not always successful. Grand slams. To do that, you must resources. You require significant support. Require a machine running behind you at full capability, and that's just when everything changed when the phone rang. Yasser Allen's name alone demands respect. Additionally, in certain areas of the real dread in the sporting world, as the mastermind of the interruption caused by LIV Golf regarding the Saudi push into the PGA Tour International Boxing, Formula One, football, and almost all of the major sports on the world. Alron is a man who recognizes value before anybody else does. Does not wager on safe or certain things. Investments. He places a wager on potential. Wagers on athletes who can cause disruptions, open up new marketplaces, and alter the game. While everyone else is playing chess, he has been playing checkers for months. According to sources near the scene, claim Al Ryan had been watching the WTA Tour in silence with the talent scout sharp. "I wasn't searching for the modern world. Top spot or the well-known superstars with enormous endorsement contracts. He was searching for the future. For a player who stood for tenacity. A player capable of filling the void between the West and the enormous unexplored Asian markets." He was keeping a close eye on Alex Eala. When Eala was defeated in Manila, most traditional sponsors would have supported off right away. They would have waited for her to resume winning prior to investing substantial resources, but Al Ryan uses an entirely new wavelength compared to conventional sports executives. He witnessed her fire. Interview after the game. He observed how she gracefully withstood the crushing pressure. And maturity. He observed the astute political, openly criticizing the system while not blazing bridges, and he made the decision to take action. As soon as possible. The message he sent was succinct, just 17 well-chosen words. We have acquired the core of that message from a variety of sources. Although the precise wording is still a carefully kept secret between the two parties, the information was completely explosive and unheard of. He commended her tireless efforts and uncompromising resilience in the face of massive, he referred to her as a new emblem of fortitude for a generation of athletes, but it was what followed the compliments that were completely unexpected people in the tennis industry. Al Ron didn't merely convey a positive message or a generic letter of support. Sent out a kind invitation that comprised a degree of special treatment, it is often only used for tennis heads of state or royalty. We are discussing elite training access Middle Eastern facilities that the majority of players won't ever experience, private travel logistics that do away with the tedium of commercial flights as well as countless relationships, and, most importantly, a direct route to the forthcoming major competitions in the area with all the support the infrastructure involved. This type of thorough assistance that changes a career nighttime. In tennis, exhaustion is the economy, a quiet killer of careers flights between different time zones. Lonely hotel rooms in foreign cities, unable to obtain top-tier physiotherapy and coaches, the ongoing financial strain of financing your own group. These include the things that destroy careers and crush long before a lack of skill does. Al Romian was proposing to fully eliminate all of the conflict so Eala can eliminate every barrier except the tennis itself. The players' response on the tour was quick and intense. Envy, confusion, jealousy. Why not a top 10 players with a Grand Slam record credentials? Why not a reputable star? The response is actually quite easy if you comprehend our primary strategy. He's taking a long-term approach, the 10-year strategy rather than the upcoming quarter's outcomes. He observes in ELO what the remainder of the world is only getting started. Acknowledge that she is more than just a tennis player. Player with skill. She is a worldwide symbol. In the making, who is able to go beyond the sport. What came next surpassed all expectations, especially from people who are closest to Eala didn't simply accept the circumstances. The offer carelessly or jump into anything. Her reply was genuine, kind, and extremely strategic. It made it possible to a brand new turning point that in just a few weeks, nobody could have predicted earlier. This was more than a sponsorship, agreement, or a short-term endorsement arrangement. This alliance was formed by a growing star and among the most influential men in sports, and the initial material result of this new partnership is a wild card entry into the primary attraction of the esteemed 2026 Abu Dhabi Open. This is unquestionably enormous, and I can't emphasize this enough sufficient. The Abu Dhabi Open is a competition, a playground for the elite when competition is limited to the greatest of the best. Getting a wild card in the main draw is similar to being given Willy a golden ticket. The chocolate factory owned by Wonka avoids the harsh qualifying stages where it ensures that careers end. Substantial reward money whether of outcomes. It puts her front and center. Versus the world's top players beneath the brightest lights, and maybe above all, it places her in Alma's backyard, where she may demonstrate the court that his trust in her was fully justified. But prior to her perhaps take off for the opulent Middle East and start this new phase, I had one more task to complete at home. This was not a typical duty or supper of rubber chicken. This was the Philippine Sports Writers' Night, the PSA Awards, the Association Awards, the most esteemed award in the Philippine sports. If Osorio's defeat was the valley, the lowest point, and the PSA Awards the night was the pinnacle. Dressed to the nines, exchanging her tennis equipment and sneakers for a classy dress and heels, Eala appeared to be the superstar that she is evolving, yet she wasn't by herself at the summit of the mountain on this unique night. For the first time in 22 years, the PSA had announced a tie for the coveted title for Athlete of the Year. When this last occurred, it was back in terms of athletics, 2004 was a lifetime ago. Boxing names that shared that honor: the golfer and legend Manny Pacquiao, Jennifer Rosales. That's the standard of business that we are discussing here, legends, immortals, and sportsmen who shaped an era. But the problem is that this, in fact, resentment and jealousy increase an additional amazing level of dramatic spice to each game she participates in future. It's no longer just tennis and ranks. It's a drama. Story. It's individualized, and that is precisely what makes this tale so compelling and the reasons you should maintain observing as we are delving further into every advancement. We are seeing the Alexandria Eala's real-time evolution, and it's quite fascinating. Innocent junior champion with titles and grinned for pictures is lost. Forever. She is replaced with an astute professional who overcomes devastating losses, high prizes from society, galas, and complicated power struggles in geopolitical sports with equal intelligence and poise. Maturing in front of us. She possesses the talent that was unquestionable. Now has substantial financial support and influence, and she undoubtedly possesses the inspiration following Manila to demonstrate everyone was mistaken. The defeat in Manila was the fuel that caused the fire to start. The Alran the spark that fired the message, everything. The Abu Dhabi Open is where the flames will either burn brightly or become extinguished. A middle ground does not exist. The 17 words that were altered here, everything is still somewhat mysterious. Which only heightens the suspense, but the influence is indisputable and already being felt throughout the tennis community. Whether this becomes the conclusion of a fairy tale or a warning regarding the risks of in athletics, outside influence is yet to be observed. But one thing is for sure, Alex Eala is no longer merely a participant, battling for ranking points. She's currently a key player in the current conflict for tennis's future and how the sport will be funded and managed in the ensuing decades. Don't wait for a second, the 2026 season is almost here. Began, and the screenwriters of reality could not have produced a superior, more dramatic turn of events than this if they made an effort. From the depths of Manila to the top of the PSA Awards to Abu Dhabi's uncertain future, the tale of Alex's journey is one that we will all be discussing for many years to come. What are your thoughts? Was Al still offered a brilliant move that will improve tennis in the Philippines to extraordinary heights, or is this a developing controversy that will blow up spectacularly? Can Alex E really channel the energy of Carlos Yulo that champions mindset and startle everyone Abu Dhabi's tennis scene? And what do you think about those 17 mysterious words that altered everything? Wish to hear from each and every one of you. Should give up your theories, forecasts, your passionate opinions in the I read all of the comments below. Comment, and I adore the conversations we possess in this society. If you think Alexa is going to win a Grand Slam championship and shall create history, destroy that like button now. If you wish to remain informed about every single bend and twist of this unfolding tale, and believe me, there will be a lot more startling developments, click the subscribe button and sound the alert, because you really don't want to miss our next video, in which we dissect the Abu Dhabi's possible attraction, further intimate information from the tour, and provide you with unique analysis that you won't. This is Champions. You won't find anywhere else. Tennis is the place where true stories are told. I'm signing off behind the headlines. Keep your ear to the ball, your eye on the ground, and remain prepared for the next episode of this amazing story. I'll see you in the subsequent one. The instant Halaroon's poker's face broke, revealing what he truly considers Alexa. A few mysteries are intended to remain concealed. Some emotions are expected to continue acting professionally, cautiously protected behind the shiny overlay of media-trained reactions and courteous responses. But what actually occurs when a 21-year-old tennis star fails to maintain his vigilance? Occurs when one inquiry, one informal interview, one unguarded moment transforms everything? Halaroon had no intention of the world to know. He most definitely didn't intend for his remarks to start a fire throughout the world of tennis, but as soon as he said her name, Alex Eala, something changed, and the pause was also long. The grin was too sincere. Additionally, detail was too exposing. Tennis enthusiasts worldwide observed this is the story, in every single detail, of how an unintentional confession turned into the most fascinating discovery in sports. How two young athletes are carrying the entire country's weight on their shoulders ended up in the middle of a global dialogue they never requested, and how one instance of sincerity revealed a lovely thing regarding deference, acknowledgement, and what actually takes place behind the scenes in professional tennis. The burden of a country. To comprehend what made Hola run slip is so important that you must initially to comprehend these two players' identities truly are. This isn't merely another narrative about young tennis players, about pressure, patriotism, and the burdensome burden of becoming your nation's only hope. Halaroon leaped atop the tennis setting like to a rainstorm in the Nordic region. The Danish phenomenon didn't merely play tennis. He launched a fierce attack on it. Veterans were reminded of a young Rafael Nadal. At the age of 21, he had already mastered the ADP Top 10, several Grand Slam victories champions, and made a name for himself as among the most thrilling and unstable skills in men's tennis. His backhand was catastrophic. His fierce competition was renowned for his passionate outbursts. Were, to put it mildly, memorable. However, here's what the majority of casual fans fail to comprehend concerning Rune. He wasn't merely acting for himself. Denmark had failed to develop a tennis player of this caliber in generations. Each game he participated in held the aspirations of a whole country. Every triumph was commemorated as a national holiday. Each defeat was examined for days in Danish newspapers. Most would have been crushed by the pressure. 21-year-olds. Run appeared to love it, even though it was obviously eating him alive. In the Philippines, all across the world, Alex Eala was going through her own rendition of the same oppressive pressure, but Run had at least some infrastructure for tennis to support. Eala was starting from scratch as a pioneer. She was the first Filipino to receive a Grand Slam victory at any level when she won the girls' singles US Open Championship, the first to enter the WTA Top 200. The first to demonstrate a country with 110 million citizens may create a tennis player of the highest caliber. Take a moment to consider that. An entire nation of archipelagos with little tennis facilities, little money for the sport, as well as almost no prior success in professional tennis, was now observing a young lady attempting to break through at the greatest possible level. Ella's participation in the event wasn't simply about award, cash, or ranking points. Regarding demonstrating that Filipino athletes belonged on the same courts as athletes from tennis-powered countries.
هنا في السعودية الثروة لا تقاس بالأرقام ولكنها بالازدهار ازدهار شعبها.
And Riyadh this week.
وفي الرياض
I think it was an overall good week. Of course, disappointed about today. I definitely think I've had better days, but